Hi, thank
Hello.
you so much for coming today. We're so happy to have you, and we want to know more what PHP Foundation have been up to, and yeah, the stage is yours. Have fun.
It's Larry's.
Oh, it's that problem again.
I mean, I
Hello.
can use Larry's slides, but
It's
they
like
won't.
Those are
It won't
good.
work.
They were good slides though.
Professional
So
setting. But
Hey,
is
there it
yours.
is.
there
Thank
we
you.
go. Have fun. Thank you.
How are you guys doing? Good.
We're doing fantastic.
Yeah. You made it all the way through. So
Almost.
almost.
Who
there.
knows what's coming
I
now?
know, right?
don't-
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting us, for inviting me. I know that a lot of people have a lot of questions about the foundation, not super sure who we are, what we're doing. So I hope I can clear some of that up today. I am Elizabeth, the executive director, as they said. Today I'm going to talk about who we are, what we do, what we don't do, and also what we're going to do. So, yeah. So basically, we care about keeping PHP sustainable and viable for the long term. So we really want PHP to thrive. That's our mission. That's our goal. We have so far been focusing on making PHP better, on working on maintenance, triage, things like that. We really also need to help the ecosystem because obviously PHP, the language, does not exist in a vacuum by itself. Like we have a very robust ecosystem that deserves some TLC and some attention and support. And then, of course, the perception, which has been, I think, a common theme a few times mentioned today about how people view PHP and maybe helping that out a little, moving that forward to be a little more accurate with what PHP actually is. We are made of these teams of people. We have a board of directors that are 9 people. They are volunteers. They do not get paid. They meet monthly. They are very, very active in Slack. Niels is on our board, so wherever you are, Niels, yay. Thank you for your support. And they're long-term PHP enthusiasts, experts. They are wonderful. And there's a list on our website if you want to see who those folks are besides Niels. I'm the executive director, so I work very closely with the board to determine, what we're going to do. Things come up day to day. I help manage the team of contractors and just really keep things going. We do have an advisory board, which is made up of our Silver and Up sponsors. And they're there to just help share, what's on their mind, what their concerns are, what their ideas are as well. So we're going to be engaging them a little more as we go, but they are there for us, which we really appreciate them. And then, of course, we have our contractors. We have 12 contractors now, plus Ben Marks, who is our director of fundraising. So shout out, Ben. Our contractors are, most are part-time. We have a few that are full-time, but most of them are just part-time. So just keep that in mind when you're when you're harassing them for things. That they're just part-time, most of them are. So, yeah. So to date, this has pretty much been what we focused on, is paying people to work on the language. That's full stop been what we do. And then you can see here kind of some of the areas that we work on. A lot of triage, a lot of the just open issues on PHP, reviewing other people's work, creating their own work, writing RFCs, security, the PHP.NET infrastructure. Some people don't know that we help support that. And then building new features like Pi. So yeah, there's a lot going on, right, in PHP. And so there's a lot to do. I want to make this very clear that we do not own the language. We do not govern the language. We do not make decisions about the language. So full stop right there. Some people think that we do, and we don't. So if someone comes to me and says, Elizabeth, when are we getting generics? I'm going to say, not my call, right? Like it's a community decision. PHP has always been a community language and probably will always be a community-owned language, which is has its pros and cons, right? It makes it harder for decisions to get made. It makes progress a little slower if you don't have kind of that one person who is making the decisions. But also, I think it's unique to PHP, and it helps our own sustainability and our long-term viability, because there isn't one entity that can just decide to stop funding it or decide to pull it. or change the license, right? Like we don't have that risk, but we do have other things that make it tricky to have a community-owned language. So yeah, I just want to make that clear that that's the deal. We support the language. We do not make any decisions. There's an RFC process for that works pretty well and has worked pretty well so far. So yeah. Here's some numbers. We just released our impact report from last year. So if you want to go read that, it's very exciting, very intriguing. I know that metrics are, they're not perfect. They only represent a little piece of things. But here are some that we were able to get. So we're sharing them with you. But as you can see, like there's a lot of work that is being done, especially for a team of 12, again, most of whom are part-time. So yeah, our folks are really busy. They're doing a fantastic job. So shout out to my team. I cannot thank our sponsors enough. None of the work that we do, none of it would happen if we did not have these fine folks supporting us. Huge shout out to JetBrains, shout out to Automatics, the Sovereign Tech Agency for the grant, and then the Alpha Omega grant that we also just received. Our gold sponsors, Team Blue and GoDaddy, and then individual contributors. There are hundreds of people who are just giving $5 or $10 a month, which that adds up so quickly. So we are just incredibly grateful for all of the financial support. And again, we wouldn't be here, like we wouldn't be doing this. So just thank you very, very much for all the financial support. So when I started a few months ago, one of the first things I wanted to do was really listen to the community. For those who don't know me, I used to be in the PHP space years ago. I started with PHP 3, and I think I left around PHP 7 around that time. I switched over into community management. So it had been a while since I had been in the community, and I wanted to hear, what's on people's minds. What are you worried about? What are you thinking about? What are you concerned about? And their ideas too. So thankfully, I put out this blog post. People answered the call. I had an open calendar, and yeah, you all had a lot to say. So that was fantastic. It was great. Most of the findings fell into 4 buckets of information, feedback. One was about the foundation itself and the ways in which we could be more transparent, more coordinated, more engaged with the community. There was quite a few comments about that, just wanting to know, like, what are you all working on? What are you doing? So that's one thing to address. The second one is, of course, the perception of PHP and the outreach that is being done outside of the PHP bubble. People are worried about that. They're worried about the perception of PHP and what that means, how that trickles down into all the way down to jobs and education and all of those things. I think people also were wanting to know, why are we overlooked, and wanting us to have a seat at the table when like open source policy is being discussed and issues like that. So I put that in that bucket as well. In the third one, community growth, the new user pipeline, right? Like someone said, hey, it's worrying to me when I go to a conference, I recognize everyone. Like, where are the new faces? I want to meet new people. Why aren't I meeting new people? So people had some concerns about just seeing the same folks, coming and going, and really the fact that there isn't a good onboarding path for folks right now, like a very clear, this is where you start, this is how you do it. There's a lot of resources out there, but they're spread out, and some of them are old, they're not updated. So just kind of wanting to coordinate that a little better and bring those resources together. And then finally, the PHP language itself, I did get some feedback on that. Surprisingly, there really wasn't a whole lot of technical feedback of things that were missing or bad about the language, which was great to hear. Most of the feedback I got were things like, internal still uses a mailing list, and that's antiquated, and I don't know how it works, and I don't know how to see what's going on, and so that was a bit. There was another piece around voting that a lot of people have the right to vote, have those privileges, but only a small number of people actually do vote on things, and the fact that people who have the right to vote maybe haven't been active in the community for a while, and there's no real process to address that at all. Like once you have the right to vote, you always have the right to vote forever and ever. So people just kind of came to me with that kind of feedback. And again, there's the link at the bottom of the slide, so you can go read those findings. I think they're super interesting. There's a lot more than what I mentioned here today, but obviously we don't have a ton of time. So go read through it. It's really super interesting if you want to know like where the opportunities are for us to be better. So the first three of those buckets, I think the foundation can absolutely address and work with. The fourth bucket, again, we don't control the language. We may influence things. We certainly have our opinions. Our contractors have opinions. I see us as a mechanism to facilitate, to coordinate, to support. So if there needs to be a discussion about the mailing list, great. There are arguments to be made on both sides of that, but the foundation is not going to make that decision, right? Like that is absolutely not our place to do. But what we could do is facilitate a conversation or bring people together, support the figuring it out. That I think is what we will be good at, is helping the community figure it out together, right? So in 2026, we have these areas that we want to focus on. One, of course, is showing up more, being more transparent about what we're working on. So that means more regular communications with the community about what we're shipping. We've revived our newsletter. We post our board minutes are publicly posted now, so you can go read those or in our GitHub organization. Just really including you all in what we're doing, I think, is a big piece of that. Secondly, of course, working on PHP's image and just helping people outside of our bubble understand that the benefits that come with writing in PHP. So we have a few ideas on that, one of which is we would like to start, or we wouldn't like to, we're going to start a blog post called PHP at Scale. Ben Marks is going to run that, and we really want to tell that story of PHP being used in bigger scenarios, and really pushing the edges. And we want to just share those stories because that's something that I think as a community struggle with is sharing our good work, right? So if you are working on something that is big or really kind of pushing PHP to the limit and you want to be on the podcast, then absolutely reach out to Ben or me. We're both in Discord, I believe. So just send me a message and happy to hook you up with Ben. That is just one of the things that we're going to try to do to help that image. Secondly is just showing up in those spaces outside of the PHP bubble. Making sure that we are included in those conversations, whether, there's an open source Congress happening that I don't think PHP has been represented at before, so we will be there this year. And really just making that effort to make sure we're included in the conversations. There's some other things which I'll talk about in the next slide, but which is relevant to the next section, which is building with you, like engaging you and really collaborating more with the community. We're a pretty small team of people, right? Like we can't do it alone. We absolutely need everybody to work with us, and we need to help be better at that and giving people a place to contribute. So that is something that you'll see on the next slide we're going to do. And then, of course, still looking after the language and helping with the maintenance and helping with the bug fixes and security fixes and making things better for everybody. That's obviously something we will continue to do. We're never going to stop doing that. At least as far as I'm concerned, we're not going to stop doing that. So definitely count that in the plans. I have not announced this yet, so this is kind of a sneak peek for you all. The blog post on this should be going out later this week. So keep an eye out for those. But what we are wanting to do is really create some spaces for people to get involved and to help us all move the needle forward together. So we're creating these special interest groups. The first one we've done already, and that was from the grant from Alpha Omega, is our ecosystem security team. So this group focuses on the security of PHP ecosystem all the way across. And it's really, I'm really excited about it because it's great to have a one group focused on that and just being a resource for the community. You have a lot of maintainers who are either the only maintainer or maybe one or two people, and it can feel kind of like lonely on an island and not having a resource if things happen. So if you are a maintainer and you want to tighten the security of your project, reach out to Volker. Volker, there's a blog post out on our website where you can read all about the security team, all about what they're using, how they're doing the tooling, all of that stuff. Reach out to Volker. He's fantastic. He will be more than happy to help you. So that is definitely a way that you can get involved. The next one is our PHP Ambassador Program. So this is focused on that perception of PHP, right? This group, I envision, will help with things like creating resources for people who want to give talks at open source conferences or other places and talk about the things they're working on in PHP, but maybe are lacking some messaging around, the viability of PHP. So this group will be, again, a resource for the community that will have those talking points ready for you, for anyone who wants to use them. They're going to help coordinate CFPs outside of the bubble. They'll, be sharing that information. Because what I would love to see is some of these open source conferences just be flooded with PHP talks, right? They can't ignore us forever. I have a friend, we go to the same open source conference every year, and every year he submits like 2 or 3 PHP talks, right? And they always deny him. And I submitted one this year. Yeah, they rejected it, but I don't care. Like we're gonna keep sending these out because we have so many things to say. We have so many stories to tell, right? So if we're coming at it as a community, I think we have a much better chance of success. So that's what that program is going to be doing, is really focusing on that. Maybe there will be a marketing campaign that this group is going to put together as well. So if that's something that you care about and you want to get involved with, there will be a form you can fill out because we're going to roll these out incrementally, not all at once. That would be too much. But the ambassador one will be coming out in June. So look for that sooner than later. The next one is our onboarding initiative. So this group is going to focus on making that experience for new users so much better, whether that's creating that path that's clear, that is solid and tested and updated, educational resources, pulling those together, making a good set of vetted resources that again are updated, that are friendly for new users. Mentorship, I think, could be a part of that group as well. That's just an idea that we have, so we'll see how that goes. But really, trying to make that whole experience for a new user a lot less painful. And maybe that also involves the PHP website. So I know that's a topic of conversation that we have often about the PHP website and the implications that come with the way that a website looks. So that group I envision would be working closely with a website team, whether that ends up being Ben Ramsey has an RFC out there for working groups, so maybe it's part of that. We don't know. We don't know how that's gonna fold, but I think this group would be focused just on that new user experience in general. So hopefully they can collaborate with whoever it is that ends up kind of tweaking the php.net website. We have a cryptography special interest group too that we are looking at, and this is really an idea from Sebastian and Sarah on our board. They want to talk about that post-quantum cryptography and just really getting PHP ready for that phase. It may turn into other things. We're not super sure how that will evolve, but we're going to give it a try and see what organically comes from that. I don't know much about this, so I can't really answer many questions about it, but definitely Sebastian and Sarah can. So I would be more than happy to hook you up with them. Then the next one is our Community Events Coalition, and this is for user group organizers, for conference organizers, really coming together to share resources, to pool a place for sponsors if they want to, just give money directly to the events, but they want it to be spread out across, something like that. Really just trying to have all these people who are very smart and know what they're doing come together and share resources. If someone's new, wants to create a user group, maybe this group would also be a resource for them. So, here's how you do it. Here's how you do it well. I think this group would really, they have a lot to say. And I know that these places, like there's on Discord, the PHPC Discord is a user group channel, and I know that some user group organizers are in there, but I think even having like monthly meetings and really deliberately making this group active and engaged and figuring some of these things out together, I think is a good thing. And then lastly is our accessibility inclusion group. We're going to launch this probably in around October. I want to make sure that we know what we know what we're doing when we're launching these groups, and that we're doing them well before we bring this group on board. This is personally very important to me. I am this speaks to my heart very, very dearly. This group would be focused on making PHP more accessible to various abilities, geographies, language, so translations. Really just anything that would kind of touch on those ideas of making the language and the ecosystem more accessible, more inclusive. And again, I think this group could be a great resource for maintainers. I think they would be doing maybe some accessibility audits. They would help perhaps with codes of conduct and implementing those. Codes of conduct responses, I think, is a big thing because, maintainers may not have those skills to handle when something's going wrong. So just to have that group there as a resource, I think would be very, very helpful. And we also have a blog post in the works that talks about PHP and accessibility, and it's super interesting. I can't wait to post it. Some things that you will learn that I would bet you do not know about the PHP language when it comes to accessibility, so look for that on our blog as well. There will be a form when we post the blog later this week. There'll be a form you can fill out if you're interested in any of these things. We would absolutely love it. We would love for you to come and be involved and be excited and bring your energy, bring your voice, bring your skills, and really just connect with the foundation. There will be a form to fill out. As soon as that launches, we can let you know. So thus far, these groups and this strategy and these ideas have been based around the findings that I did when I first joined. But that's a very limited set of data, right? 60 people is not completely representative of the entire community. So I think we really need more data. And I think that it is going to be so important for all of us, not just the foundation, but for everyone in the community to understand how PHP is being used, what tooling is being used, what people want, where they're coming from, what other tools they're using, what other languages they're speaking or writing in. So there's so much power that comes with having data. So I'm super excited to announce that we are in partnership with PHP Storm and the JetBrains folks. We released it today. Like literally, I think we posted it while I was talking. So if you go to our blog, it should show up, I hope. If I've done everything right, it will. If not, then you'll have to wait a minute till I'm done talking to go fix it. But here's the QR code that should take you right to the survey. So we really, really, really encourage you to go fill this out. It won't take very long, but your voice is so very, very important. And just the way that we all move forward. Like we want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear what's on your mind. So please go take that survey or wait till this is over and go take the survey. That would be better. But hey, if it's that urgent, you can go now. That's fine. Yeah. So we would really, really appreciate that. Here's a quick, I don't have a clue how we're doing on time, but here's a quick just overview of when we're launching things so that you can kind of see there's a lot going on, there's a lot to do, and we really want your participation, we want your engagement and involvement in the things that we're working on. It's super important to us because we have to kind of do this all together, right? Again, we're just a small team of people just doing the best we can. So we're much more effective if we all pull together and coordinate with each other. So I just will end with this. Here again are some ways you can get involved. Adding your name to the interest list of one of these special interest groups. Financial contributions are, of course, always welcome, and your money will be well spent. I guarantee it. You can come say hi. We have a Discord channel in the PHPC Discord. There's a foundation channel. Come say hi. Please engage with us. If you see us on at conferences, if you're not, subscribe to our newsletter if you want to do that. That's a thing we have now. So again, we had it. Now we have it again. And then, of course, please go take that survey. It's very exciting and it's super important to everyone. And those results will inform so much about how we all, kind of move forward. And the results will be open to anybody. So, anybody will be able to see what was learned there and make their own kind of assumptions and interpretations. So yes, please come. I'm super excited. I'm very, very hopeful about the future of PHP. People have asked me, are you worried? Am I worried about PHP? I am not worried at all about PHP for two reasons. One is the community, because people are so excited and engaged and I mean, look at this. Look at how many people showed up today, right? Like that is wild. That's so fantastic. If we had an apathetic community, that would be a much harder problem to solve. And I have said that before. When I, opened my calendar, it was full. Like that is fantastic. I'm so excited. And the second reason is that the language is great, right? It's stable. It's wonderful. It does exactly what you want it to do. The language is not the problem. That's the perception, right? So that's an absolutely solvable problem, is just telling stories and changing perception. If I would have come back to PHP and someone said, yeah, we haven't had a release since, PHP 7, that might be a bigger problem to solve. So I'm really glad that is not the case, that the case is just a perception. And that is something absolutely we can work on. So I'm super excited about the future. I'm very, very hopeful. I really want to just encourage everybody to get involved, because all of our livelihoods depend on it, right? Like we all work together. We can all, what is that, a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing? I don't know. But yes, so please come get involved. And that's pretty much all I had today to say.
Such a big energy from Elizabeth today. Oh my God, that was so good and refreshing. I really appreciate having someone with so many energy on top of the PHP Foundation.
It gets a little annoying, I know.
No, it does not. It does not. It does not. I absolutely love it. Okay. So, by the way, chat, don't forget, go to the PHP Foundation blog and take the survey just announced by Elizabeth.
Please.
Yeah, do that.
We worked very hard on that.
Yes.
So do that. I want to also say congratulations for the security initiative.
Yeah,
It's
thanks.
super good to see that something like PHP Foundation is being so reactive and proactive, setting up the security topic instantly to all the community. So I do have a question here from the chat, but also this is a question that comes to me literally every day, which is about the PHP website. So you mentioned a little bit of PHP website today. So my question is not when it will be done.
Yeah.
My question is, for the front-end developer, for the designer that loves PHP, what is the fastest way they can say something like, I'm here to help for free?
That's an excellent question. I would say right now, anyway, go to the website mailing list and start just integrating yourself. Maybe I think there's some open issues that can be worked on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's one of those weird in between places. The PHP.NET socials I put it also in this bucket where the foundation doesn't own it. We don't drive it. We can't dictate anything, but I want to make those things work and involve the community to make it better, I think is really the way to go. I know that the website is a thing because it affects the perception of PHP. It affects the new user experience. It's so very, very important. And, thus far, we've just kind of been vibing it. We've been small iterations here and there. But I think that, there are a few RFCs, I think, out there as well that might change the flow of how decisions are made, who is making those decisions. Again, I think I mentioned Ben Ramsey's RFC out there, which calls for different working groups to kind of address some of these things, like the infrastructure and that. So I would say get involved with the website mailing list and the GitHub, where all that work is being done. I will say that the infrastructure itself is we're supporting that. So that part is solid. It's just tweaking this website that we all need to come to a decision about how we're going to do that.
Yeah, my question origin basically because I have a lot of friends who are designers. They know front end, and they were like, I would do it for free. Honestly, just give me how to do it, how to approach the PHP Foundation or the PHP internals team, and I will just do it. Now, before moving here to my colleague Brent, I have one more question. As PHP Foundation director, do you have permissions to merge anything on the core? Because if you do, maybe you can just merge genetics right now.
Yeah, there's this small PR.
Can you just merge genetics already?
I don't have those permissions. Sorry to say. Yeah, no. You're going to have to beg, borrow, steal from someone else because I don't have that. I totally would, though.
Well, I have another question from a real question from Discord chat. It's actually interesting. I'm curious what your answer is going to be. So if the foundation suddenly received 100 million without any strings attached, apparently Alexander might be able to do that. I don't know.
Amazing.
What would the first thing be that you change?
Wow, that's a really good question. There's so much, right? There's so much to do. I will tell you what keeps me up at night, which is the backlog of issues and PRs that are open in the PHP source, right? I think that those, I would pay an army of people to wipe that out.
More people.
More people. The technical debt, just working against that. I think that is the thing that will make things so much easier moving forward. Yeah. Like the merge process, I think one of the reasons it takes a while for things to get merged is that process is not easy. It's a complicated process with a lot of steps and touches a lot of things, right? And the trust is a big thing, so there's not a ton of people that can do it. So there's a little bit of a bottleneck there, but if we could manage to make that process easier, I think that would help with the backlog as well. So I'm really just kind of tweaking our processes, cleaning stuff up. But, all of that takes time and money and energy to do. And there's so many other fun things to work on, right? Like that's the part that, I was saying this last night at dinner. I personally struggle with balancing the need for paying folks to work on maybe not the most exciting things, but like the maintenance of it, that's super important. And also takes a pretty, deep level of knowledge to do, but also, then building those new things and keeping us, up to date with what is going on in the rest of the world. So both of those things need attention and need support and need resources. So it's kind of a juggling act, of priorities, really.
100%. Yep, that was loud and clear. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate you being here with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was great.
That was it. A big clap from the chat, please, to Elizabeth. Everyone, please.
Thanks.